Hi, everyone. I'm Sami Sati. I'm working on Astral Gunners. I'm the programmer and musician on the game. The other half of the game is my brother Eric Sati, who did all the artwork for it.
Okay, can you tell me about Astral Gunners? People just saw a trailer, but maybe you can tell us a little bit more what to expect from it.
Yeah, it is a 2D shoot 'em up. It leans a lot more into the bullet hell genre, but we don't want that to scare people away because there are a lot of difficulty options. You can play it on easy, normal, hard, and like easy mode isn't insulting to the player, but it's a beatable challenge. And there's a progression system kind of similar to roguelikes where you're where you're leveling up outside of the core game. So when you complete achievements in this game, you'll unlock credits, sort of like you get extra quarters to play on an arcade machine. So even when you don't beat the game in a single run, you unlock more credits for the next time you play through it.
Oh,
There
no.
are ways to overcome the challenge of the game.
I gotta ask, because people are gonna want to know: is this co-op and how many players?
It is co-op and it goes up to two players.
Huh.
The game is mostly focused around the single player experience, but ever since we've been bringing it to events, we realized co-op is something that a lot of people look for in a game. So we're glad we put a little bit more focus into that over time.
What inspired this game? What made you want to make it?
We knew we wanted to make a game. We figured we had the perfect two-man team. I knew a little bit of programming and wrote music. My brother worked on art. So we thought, hey, let's start with a simple game. We'll just make a 2D shooter. Turns out, if you want to try and make a good game, there's no game that's like an easy one to start out with. Work no matter what. So that was where the game started from. And then, of course, we like a lot of the games from like Treasure and Cave and like other series like R-Type and Gradius and stuff like that. So it's inspired by a lot of elements from our favorite shoot 'em ups.
When did you start working on this?
It was actually about 5 or 6 years ago now. It's been a passion project for a long time where we've had full-time jobs and just kind of worked on it here and there. We've scrapped whole parts of the game and started from the beginning a few times just because we got better at what we were doing and wanted to restart on stuff. So it hasn't been a solid 5 years of continuous work, but that's about when it started. I don't know the exact time frame.
What has changed over the lifetime of this game that you were most excited? Was like the biggest change that you were most excited about, that you've like, hey, we put this in and it's like, oh, this seems real cool, or is it
Actually, so I mean, it's hard to. There's probably something in the past that's a more accurate answer, but the recent thing that we added to the game that really kind of pulled together a whole concept. So we always wanted to have a level select screen, kind of similar to Star Fox, and we added that into the game. And then, sort of at the last minute, we decided. So first, let me take a step back. There are certain NPCs that will show up in the levels that you can save, and if you save them, they'll give you a heart piece and they'll fly away. If you don't save them, then they die, unfortunately. But then we added something to the game where if you save them on one level, they'll show up in another level and help you out on that level as well.
Oh.
So that you can play the levels in any order that you want, and that factors into which order you want to play the levels in. So if you save one guy on one of the levels and you want him to show up on a specific level, you have to do that one next. The biggest thing missing from our game for the longest time was some sort of like strategic planning in the gameplay. It was all action, and there was no, let me take a moment, stop and think about how I'm going to map this out. That's the thing I'm most excited to see people actually play.
Linux in the chat again asks, can you go into detail with the scoring a bit? Give us
That's
the numbers.
one of those things. Yeah, and this has been the most fun thing about seeing people play the game over the years is, I would say roughly like, we were kind of making a game for a specific niche audience, and not everyone's going to like it. We kind of know that off the bat. So like probably 25% of people have fun with the game, and then 5% of people of that will get into the scoring. But I put a lot of time and thought into that. And I don't know if I can explain it all in a little brief moment here, but The core basics of the scoring are every character has a different special. You can use your special to clear bullets on the screen. When you clear bullets, those will be converted into a score multiplier. So your goal of the game is to try and use your special when there's a lot of bullets on screen. But in addition to that, you're trying to defeat enemies as quickly as possible. And I feel like I'm explaining way too many mechanics. I'm trying to make this simpler. But yeah, so if you kill enemies quickly, it'll jump you forward in the level. And if you do that enough time, bonus enemies will spawn. And there's a whole separate timeline of bonus enemies that upgrade as you go throughout the levels.
So
time when you're,
So you get points for like killing quickly, killing many, and then
So the basics of it are kill enemies quickly and then use your special to clear the screen of bullets as much as possible. Then there's also another mechanic on top of that. If you fill out your multiplier, you enter system overload, which when you shoot enemies, they'll convert all of your bullets into medallions that are worth points that you gobble up for score. It's there's a lot of stuff on screen happening all the time.
Yeah, it seems like a game for someone who kind of wants to get into that nitty gritty of like, how do I get the best score for those score chasing type people. Yeah,
for anyone who likes, like, if you enjoy like the mastery side of games, of like playing fighting games, speed running, or high score games, that's what we're designing a lot of that stuff for specifically.
But does the game have a story?
It does. I would not consider either of us writers, but we're trying to make an engaging story. Just something that like can help you follow along. There's a few like core themes in there and stuff, but it's not the primary focus of the game. There's a story to follow. The characters have some sort of personality, but we know most people are just going to hit start to skip it. So that's
Yeah. So, but if you're there for more than just to see the numbers check up, you got a story there for you too.
Yeah, for sure. We're trying to hit enough of the points that everyone cares about in games. So,
when are we going to be able to play Astral Gunners?
Well, technically, this weekend on at 2DCon for the Indie Island stream. I think that people should be able to play it there tomorrow.
All right.
When it's going to be released, we are releasing the game in early access. We haven't decided on a specific date yet, but it will be very, very soon, within the next month or two.
Okay. Is there some place that people can follow or check to see when that, stay up to date on the game, see when it's beginning to
so I guess the simplest thing would be there's astralgunners.com. And that'll have links to all of our social media. We've got a Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I think that's all the social medias.
Anything else you want to let people know about your game?
No, that's about it. I appreciate you guys showcasing us and having me on.
Yeah. Thank you for stopping.